How was it signing to the Lakers after, right after Kobe retired? Like, what was it like walking into there post Kobe? Like, especially
and going from what you went through to get back to getting a big contract.
Nah, it's insane, man. I had
4 years, 72. Nice little pocketbook money, little pocketbook.
Listen, it came with a lot of heat, with a lot of pressure, and unnecessary things uncalled for. But to think back, like you said, I played with the Heat. The Heat gave me an opportunity. I had one of my best playoffs. I was playing so well, and I remember I wanted to stay in Miami. But Pat Riley kept it real, and Pat just said, "Yo, I can't pay you that much money.
Yeah,
you gotta take that money." And for me, that was so real. So I looked at it, and I'm like, you know what? I might never ever get this opportunity again. But my conversation with going to LA was to go there to hoop. I had a mindset of, now I'm getting paid. I'm going to, the lights and whatnot, and I wanted to, make it happen. So I took the chance and I took the money, but I never knew exactly what their plan was, or what the plan was not what I was told. And that kind of changed, how I looked at the league, my love for the game, and so on. And I really mean it. I was getting all this money, but it didn't feel right. It didn't feel the same. And what I mean by that is I wanted to play. I wanted to be a part of, the team. I wanted to change, but I was told we're going in a different direction. I'm not dressing up and whatnot. And, and I could.
They basically told you can go home and we're going to send you your checks, basically.
Honestly, that's what it was. And I always tell people there was a lot of conversation where 1 month into it, it's like, yo, we're only going to play the young guys. A month into it, it's like, yo, we need you to get in shape, practice, and so on. And I would get in shape, practice, and then it would be a sit down and be like, oh, actually, we decided we're going to play the young guys. And it just kept going. So 2 years in, the second year, I was like, you know what? I never want to play here. And I remember it was just like, yo, you're gonna play, you're not gonna play, you're gonna play, and my agent is trying, but you gave me so much money, and now you're not playing me. Why would anyone else take that contract? You got to let me play for people to see. But I was never allowed to play.
I could never understand why teams do that. There's so many examples of teams signing a guy, whether it's for a lot or a little money, but bringing a new player to your team and then telling him one thing, and then it's like, why the hell did you bring me here if you didn't want me to play like this? Like you said, it's a month into this thing and y'all telling me this bullshit now? It's so many examples of that. Whether it's the management ain't on the same page with the coach, and then they done brought somebody who, like, bro, y'all got to get that shit together. Like, y'all need to be in sync on that decision.
Yeah, I tell the young guys all the time, don't let the politics or the business take the love of the game out of it, because once you let the politics and the business take your love, it just adds on to it. Like being in Portland and doing all that, man, I didn't really love the game how I used to love it no more, because it was like I was dealing with all these politics and the business part of it, and you can get caught up in that. So I tell the young guys, man, fight as much as you can to never lose the love of the game, because you're going to go through a lot of stuff dealing with the front office, with the politics and the business of it.
Definitely. I always tell people, man, I've learned this throughout my career. And obviously everyone could, rank them differently. But I always say the three worst things, beside injury, but the three worst things that can happen for somebody's career. Number one is obviously having a coach that doesn't like you for some reason. Forget your game, but your personality or whatever, or the way you talk or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's number two is when a GM that, drafted you loses their job. Because when a GM drafts you, for them to be a good GM, they need to let you play and show the world that they got the right pick.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they do whatever it is. And then the third one is when you get traded. Because when you get traded, you're really an experiment. You're not really my draft pick. So if you get traded to whatever team it is, if there's a young guy ahead of you, even if you're better, we're going to make sure that young guy is it, because he's the future and that's who we drafted. So for me, whatever took place with LA and so on, it's okay. I've learned a lot, but I always look back. I was so lucky to be with one organization for 10 years. You know, think about it. Like, not a lot of people could tell you, like, I never knew what everybody is going through until 10 years into the league. Like, I never knew till I went to Cleveland, and I was like,
it's always the first trade. It's always the first trade.
This team just sent me, you know, I gave them everything. I played through injuries, whatever. You just send me away, and now you're telling me I got to get a plane tomorrow. I got to look for an apartment, and now I'm in a new organization. It's like, but it took me 10 years to experience that.
You know,
but I had so many teammates come into the locker room. I've sat there in Chicago, you know, from the age of 18 till 28. I've seen people come in and leave, but I've
come and go.
But I've never experienced what they're dealing with, looking for an apartment, looking for a house, with, you know, family moving, so on. I just stayed in one place. So at the same time, with everything that happened, you know, I've been so blessed. I don't want to ignore, you know, I don't want to dwell on what didn't go right at the end, because a lot went right for me to even get there.
Definitely.